This is my Clarke tin whistle, which I played in my whistle comparison video, and I described it as really demanding of breath and air pressure. And I have already tweaked it. It originally was much more domed in this part, and the fipple also was in a different position. I've moved it and that improved things, but I actually just want to see if I can go further with it, because I did describe this whistle as essentially not really being worth using, even though I like the tone. So why don't I try and tweak it a bit more. I'll film doing that so you can kind of have a look at how it's done and what's meant to be done, and maybe try it on your own whistle, provided you're willing to take a chance on that whistle not working out. So let's try it. Okay, so not the perfect filming studio with my phone balanced on a tree trunk, but I think it'll be fine. I've got a hammer, a pair of pliers, which is in my case on a penknife, and a tiny little knife, and let's see what we can do to make this better. So first of all, I just really want the distance here to be less. I want that to be flatter. So let's try doing that with the hammer. Look at that, that's really flat. And just, it's come out the sides a little bit, so let's tap that back into place. Oh, and that's pulled it back up. Oh, I see what happened. So that's gone back to how it was. All right, so let's try that one more time. Now it's pretty flat, but it's come out at the sides. You can see it's leaking there. I wonder if I can address that with the pair of pliers. Come on, phone. All right, so can I address that with the pair of pliers instead? Yeah, a little bit. So there's the issue. Whenever I try and press it in at the sides, it comes up again at the middle. Let's see how that sounds though. A bit raspy. Now, why does it sound a bit raspy? It's probably to do with the fipple. Let's try and move the fipple a bit. So I've just moved the whole thing down, so maybe that means that I need to move the fipple out a bit. Let me try and do that. So I'm putting the blade in and pushing up. Let's see if that makes a difference. So it is quite raspy. Tricky. But I also can see now, so this is just trial and error this, that I've actually flattened it so much that it's actually touching the wood in here. So let's get that back up. See if that's what the problem is. So basically this is quite complicated, tweaking this whistle. You have to get it so that you've got a nice clear windway and a nice straight fipple, and just trial and error really. So there's no instructions on do this, then this and this. It's just try and bend it and achieve the shape. Oh, that is actually much better, much easier to play and much better. Let's see if I can continue with just getting it at optimum, basically. So I'm gonna probably switch the camera off this and just keep messing around with it for a while, but that's what we're aiming for. So what I'm aiming for is a thin windway, no buzz, so keep messing around with getting the gap right here and moving the fipple in and out with the knife, and see if I can get it perfect. Okay, so I'd say I've spent another just 5 minutes on that, really trying to get it as good as I can. It's not pretty. Maybe if I had like some rubber coated pliers it would be prettier, but I'll tell you what I've learned. I've confirmed that you do have to pinch in the metal around this wood. If there are gaps, it's not a good sound at all. It is hard to get this totally flat, but in the end I ended up pressing my thumb against it. It's very, very malleable, this stuff, very soft, and then pulling with the pliers at the same time at the side. That worked. It's difficult to get the fipple straight. I'm actually at this is the fipple. I'm actually at the point now where I do need to push it in a bit, and I realised I didn't show you how to do that. So when I pushed it out a bit, I did it with the knife like that. And actually that flattened this bit against the wood, and then I had to pull it out again using the knife as well, or lever it out. But when I've been pushing it in, I've just been doing it with these little pliers and literally like pushing on top of them like this. So I think when I've done that, it will be good to go, and it is a much better play. It's better to play than it was by a lot. Okay, so in a previous video, a whistle comparison video, I said that this wasn't great to play, difficult to keep in tune, so I now eat my words. That wasn't what was wrong with it. It's a really great whistle, and it's just that I hadn't fully tweaked it to optimum. So I tweaked it a little bit, but I hadn't realised that it was possible to make that top part that was domed completely flat and therefore really narrow the windway, and just keep working with that then to kind of go, well, then I've got to adjust the fipple, and I already got the fipple straight in my first round of tweaking, because it starts off with a little V in it when you get the whistle. So just really kind of keeping on adjusting the windway, keeping on moving back and forth and trying to get straight the fipple. And now it's a completely different whistle. It's not difficult to keep in tune, although I'm not used to it, so I probably won't get it perfectly in tune at the moment, but it should be possible to get it in tune. If I find that it's not, I do know how to alter the size of the tone holes myself. I've got another video coming up on that, in case that's something that you need to do on one of your whistles. But that is just so much better. I definitely spoke too soon by saying that it was difficult to play and difficult to play in tune. Much better now. What shall I play? Scale. Let me play you a scale first of all. So, by the way, when I couldn't get this perfect, there was a bit of a rasp, particularly on the top notes, and if I moved everything too much, whatever the other way was, then there'd be a rasp on the low notes, and I was in the middle of thinking, you know, like, it only took 10 minutes, but I was sort of there going, oh God, am I never going to be able to get rid of this rasp? Have I ruined the whistle? But no, it's just a case of just keeping on adjusting. Doesn't look pretty, like I said. Looks a lot worse than when I first got it, but plays a lot better. Fine. I'm going to play Fig for a Kiss maybe, and then some bluesy stuff. So I find it really amazing that in 1843 somebody could have bought this whistle and it would have been the same thing, exactly the same design, same materials, and they would hopefully have gone home, and with minimal tools that they may have had, they might have tweaked it just like I have, and ended up with something that they could, you know, famously busk with. Those, you know, in the Clarke box you get a story about a famous busker of the time who knew up to 50 tunes and could dance whilst playing this whistle. Now I get how he could dance playing it. I couldn't have danced playing it before when it needed so much breath. So yeah, give it a go. It is hard to tweak basically, so it's not hard to play, turns out it's hard to tweak.